And welcome to the Davenport Coaches Show, live from Uccello's in Caledonia. We'll be talking Davenport football. Also, a little bit later in the show, special guest talking Davenport basketball with Burt Paddock, head men's basketball coach. But tonight, of course, we're focused on the football. Coach Sparky McEwen joins me right now. I'm Rick Berkey, thanking you for joining us here for our weekly broadcast. And first time this year that we're doing the show following a defeat. Davenport suffered a loss for the first time this year to two-time defending national champion Ferris State Saturday at Davenport by a count of 28-10. Coach, you haven't tasted defeat yet. Let's talk a little bit about, we'll go over the game in just a little bit, but let's talk about in the locker room. I'm sure the guys were disappointed. They wanted really to play well, and for a half of football they did.
Very disappointed. You know, we went into that game and, you know, throughout the year, throughout the season, you know, off season, you talk about those big games and coming to Davenport playing in, you know, meaningful games. And that one was very, very important to us. And obviously from the other side of things, the importance of it with the playoffs implications and the GLIAC championship implications. And I was proud of them, man. They played really hard. You know, they flew around. We did some good things. And, you know, you can't, the margin for error is so slim when you start playing, you know, defending champions and things like that. You got to play flawless games. And, you know, when you fall asleep, you know, through different periods in the game, it could cost you. And unfortunately for us, we got hit a couple times where I felt like we just truly, you know, fell asleep and didn't give the effort necessary to be successful in achieving certain goals.
With all the different scenarios that could have played out, as in my mind, I was thinking about it. One thing I didn't think would happen, and that, especially once we saw what beautiful conditions we had, was a scoreless first period. I looked up after one quarter, 0-0. I did not see that coming.
With both teams that have the ability to strike fast, especially Ferris, you know, they have history with high-power offenses and things like that. But this is one of those years where you have two pretty solid defenses coming into the game. So we knew that there was going to truly be an opportunity that both those defenses could stand up and play strong and play bend but don't break style of football. I thought our defense did a really good job on a couple goal line stands and turning them back, you know, and so to the credit of the defense, they really played hard, you know, the entire game. Offensively, we got out great, and that's what you wanted. And all of a sudden you look up, we get the ball right before half, we drive it down, we kick a nice long field goal with our kicker, and we go into the locker room 10-7, and it was just only after a couple possessions, the half went fast, and it was going, you know, according to schedule, and but you still got two quarters to play.
What was the mood at the halftime? What was the guys? Again, you just had a beautiful touchdown pass from Jason Whitaker to Myron Harris, and then a career-high 42-yard field goal from Brandon Gilo. Had to be feeling pretty good in the locker room.
The locker room, you know, it's pretty unique because we do a really good job of going in, and we'll allow the young people to go in and take care of their business. And coaches, we go over adjustments, and we talk about plan Bs and option Bs and things like that, and what we just saw and what we need to tighten down on. And, you know, we talked before we went out, and I told them, you know, I've been in that locker room over there, and I said, they're champions, man. You got to knock them out. You got to knock them out. And sure enough, if you don't knock them out, they're going to knock you out. You know, so they came out with a heck of a punch. The worst thing that could have happened to start the half was to have a kickoff run back.
Yes, it did. 100 yards, and Sean Sanders, he later had a pick six, and the second half was dominated by Ferris State. Overall, your thoughts on the game coming out of it? Obviously, you mentioned the disappointment, which is certainly understandable, but overall thoughts on how your team performed in what was the biggest game in program history to that point in time?
The biggest thing that coaches look for in games of that significance is a couple things they look for. Number one, the effort. You know, what was the competitive effort? And I truly felt like the effort was what we needed. It was a tremendous effort, and as expected, they've given great effort all year. And so I was proud of them from that standpoint. You also have to go in and play smart, but, you know, stay aggressive, and you got to compete at a high level mentally for 4 quarters, you can't take a play off. You just can't take a play off. And it's when you play championship caliber football, that intensity, that mental intensity needs to stay, locked, for 4 quarters. And a couple of the breakdowns we had, is extremely tough. We got a little banged up, in certain positions, and we weren't as effective as I thought we could have been if we would have stayed healthy. So they fought to the end. Proud of them. Hats off to the defending national champions. They're pretty much in the driver's seat to be a lock to get into the tournament, and now they'll have an opportunity to three-peat.
Overall, there were some other positives as well. First of all, you held Ferris State to just 116 yards rushing. That's 100 yards below what they normally average, and much better than we saw last year when they beat us twice.
Yeah, it was a different kind of football game, and our defensive staff and Coach Mack, he does a really good job of scheming teams, and I've already communicated with some of the coaches on the staff that we just played, and it's always a hell of a chess match, with our offensive coordinator, their offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator. It's turning out to be a pretty good contest, but we got to win one at some point here. We've beaten everybody else but the 2 bigs, and we're not going to be satisfied until we're on the winning end of some of those contests.
In our final segment, I will talk about the regular season finale this Saturday at Grand Valley State, 1 o'clock kickoff in Allendale. But as we look at the regional rankings that came out, Grand Valley 2, Ferris State 5, and Davenport still in the top 10 at number 8 right now in the regional rankings, which ultimately determine who gets into the playoffs. The top 7 in each region qualify for the postseason. But it looks like, based on the teams on your schedule and previous games and how other teams are playing, it's pretty much a win to get in this week. Would you agree?
100%. Win and you're in. That's the way we're looking at this, because it's number 1. It's the GLIAC championship, at hand here. Who doesn't want to be in games like that? Where you win a GLIAC championship, you get we call it ring season. You're going against the defending GLIAC champions. And once again, just like the one we just played, the defending national champions, the GLIAC defending champs, they're going to come out. They're going to want that thing, by themselves, and we understand it. So we're going to have to play, better than what we did this past week, if we want to, have a share of that conference title.
Coach Sparky will be back with us in the final segment of the show to talk a little bit more about this week's opponent, Grand Valley State, on Saturday afternoon in Allendale. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back with a player guest. Senior linebacker Josh Fusco will join us. So stay with us on the Davenport Coaches Show, live from Uccello's in Caledonia. And we continue with the Davenport Coaches Show, live from Uccello's in Caledonia. We'll be back here next Tuesday, so make sure you join us online, or you can stop out in person, enjoy some of the wonderful atmosphere, the food, the beverages, the 150 large TV screens that surround us here whenever we're here. Probably not 150, but it sure seems like it. Everything you want to watch sports-wise is going on. Sometimes they got a soap opera going up over there, it looks like, as well. But our next segment's with our player segment. Senior linebacker Josh Fusco from Zeeland joins us right now. Transferred over from Saginaw Valley State. And good to have you here, Josh. Let's talk about your player's perspective. As we were talking with Sparky about the disappointment in the locker room. What was it from your perspective and your defensive perspective afterwards?
we kind of came together and kind of self-reflected on, the mistakes that we made on the field. We know what we got to fix. We're a great team. We got great guys all around, offensively, defensively, and special teams wise. So, we looked at it, took a look, fix what we got to fix, and we're on to a new opponent, and we're ready to make that next step.
Well, Josh came from Zeeland East High School, where he had a phenomenal high school career. I know this is not news to me, but those of you who don't know, he was one of the top high school football players in West Michigan for a number of years. He rushed for over 4,000 yards on offense in his career, all-purpose over 5,000 yards in his career, 70, that's right, 70 touchdowns in high school, 3-time all-conference, 3-time all-area. Josh, you came here, you went to Saginaw Valley, and then to play in college, and then here on the defensive side. How hard was it giving up being on the offensive side? It had to be tough.
Yeah, it definitely was not an easy transition coming into college. I was mainly offense, focused on that. And then, when I went to, Indiana Wesleyan and then Saginaw, they really saw me thriving on the defensive side of the ball. So they had me switch up. I embraced that challenge. And, I just took it head on, and I moved forward with it and continue to grow. All these coaches give me amazing opportunities to, ball out on that field. So, it's been great.
What was it about Davenport that appealed? Because you knew if you came here, you had only one season left, and that's got to be hard coming into a program that a lot of guys are already established in that. Tell us about that decision and what you went through in deciding to come back home for your final year.
Yeah, so, the program's on the way up. Sparky's doing a great job. All these other coaches, Coach Matt, Coach Walk, all these guys are doing, fantastic things. And I wanted to be a part of that, whether, I was, a special teams player for him or, playing big minutes for him. I just wanted to be a part of a program that was going to give me some type of opportunity to finish out my last season close to home and, win some ball games. So.
Well, you've certainly experienced that. You've been a stalwart on the defensive side, 27 tackles, and really coming on of late. 3 of his last 5 games, you've had 6 tackles each. Seems like watching you on the defensive side, something seemed to click for you midway through the season. Is that a fair assessment?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I'm seeing everything a lot more. It's been, off the field, there's been a lot more film watching and stuff like that. So on the field, I can just play fast, play physical. So it's been great.
So this is your final year with Davenport, your final semester. You got another semester of college to go. Sport management major, is that correct?
Yep, that is correct.
What are you thinking about doing after your college days are done?
I want to stay close to sports. I'm a big sports guy, whether, baseball, basketball, football. So, I'm looking to either become an AD, either coach some football, just stay around the game as much as I can because, I just have a lot of love for it. So.
Would you like to coach high school?
Oh, yeah. I'd love to coach high school, college, whatever chance I could get.
Well, your high school coach, Derek Pennington, is right around the corner here.
Yeah.
So, it'd be a good place to start there with you. But certainly with that, what do you do for your own enjoyment when you're not playing football, you're not working out, you're not going to school? Josh? What do you do just for your own pleasure?
I'm a big outdoorsman. I love to fish, hunt, stuff like that. I like to enjoy the nature. Go on some walks, stuff like that. And I got my dog. I like taking him on some nature walks, and and just kind of embracing the surrounding areas. So.
Tell us about your family and how they've influenced you and helped you become the person you are.
So, my dad's actually been the biggest guy that's influenced me. He's pushed me in every aspect of my life, teaching me right from wrong. Football-wise, he's pushed me real hard to be the best player I can be. And then person-wise, he's, like I said, he's teaching me right from wrong, and I'm just trying to grow in every aspect of my life right now. So.
All right, well, again, as we talked with Sparky, we don't have the benefit of last year's. You weren't here last year, but last year we had a situation where we wanted to win that last game, but in the back of mind, we already knew that we might very well get in the playoffs without a win. This year, that's not the case. You got to win Saturday to get in the playoffs and also grab a share of what would be the first ever conference crown in football. Yeah, no, it's going to be a good challenge. I think our team's ready to face that challenge. The preparation's been great so far this week, and I know it's going to continue to be great. And, I don't think we take it as, a downer that, if we lose. No, I think we're just ready to take that challenge head on, and we're ready to make that happen for Davenport. So. All right, Josh, hey, great having you with us for 1 year. You're a great addition to the program, and we wish you the best down the road and look forward to seeing your coaching days when you're done playing.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Josh Fusco, linebacker on your Davenport team, one of the seniors honored on Saturday and on Senior Day. Take a break, come back. We're going to switch gears, talk a little men's basketball here on the Davenport Coaches Show, live from Uccello's in Caledonia. Nothing we can do.
What is this on, Rick? Is this on the dam or what?
We continue with the Davenport Coaches Show. Uccello's in Caledonia. We're going to alter our football talk. We're going to get into men's basketball right now as Burt Paddock, the head men's basketball coach, joins us right now as they are starting their season this weekend. Coach, the clock turns, the calendar turns, and just like that, we're back into basketball once again.
Tell you what, my daughter got into high school and started playing some volleyball. I thought time flew before, man. All of a sudden, my daughter's in high school, and I can't imagine how quickly things pass. It's just, it was a flash, but we're here, and the season's about to start, and we're super excited.
Jackson Brown said, I'm aware of the time going by. They say it's in the end, it's the wink of an eye.
Yeah.
And trust me, in a wink of an eye, you and I were back in college.
Yeah.
It wasn't just a wink of an eye. We were back there. Again, your basketball team, you start out this weekend. In fact, your next three weekends, you've not only got road trips, you've got decent length road trips. You're going to be in Missouri for one weekend, then Wisconsin, and then Pennsylvania.
Yeah, we're going to have to find out who did that scheduling and get rid of that guy, aren't we? Oh, wait a minute, it was me. Now, you know what? I like to challenge our guys earlier in the year, and I'm very fortunate we're allowed to take our kids on some trips. I think it's great for us as a coaching staff to be able to get our kids on the road, get them away from school a little bit. We haven't had a chance to do much of that at this point, and just get them a chance to kind of bond. You're still trying to work through those things. With 8 new guys on your team, you're constantly trying to build the chemistry within your group, and I think sometimes when you can get away, get to hotels, spend time together, and watch video and ride in the bus and all those good things, just spells for good things for your team later on.
All right, let's pick out a few guys to have you react to. Start with the guys coming back. You start back with an all-conference performer picked as the preseason GLIAC Player of the Year, Marcitas Leach Jr.
Yeah, he was fantastic for us last year. It was a tough deal for him last year. So many injuries and so many things happened. Felt like we asked him to do so many things for us. But had a heck of a year, averaged over 20 points a game. Felt like he had 2 guys guarding him all the time. And so I'm excited for this year because he's got a lot of help now built in. We got a lot of older guys, some guys who are sitting out, some transfer guys, as well as some high school kids are going to come in and help us out. And I think that it's going to make him even that much better.
A guy that you redshirted last year that you were really high in practice. He couldn't play with you. Miles Ballou, transfer from Saginaw Valley.
Yeah, Miles looks like he should be playing for Sparky's football team over there. He's a linebacker.
He's built,
oh,
yeah.
Man, he looks like a linebacker. He's going to be a tough kid. He's a really good rebounder. He's a really tough defender. Can really score the ball. I mean, he averaged 23 points or 21 and a half points a game at Saginaw before we got him. And so super excited about him. Those 2 guys, you always worry when you got 2 guys who can score the ball so much. Is there enough to go around for everybody? And those 2 have gotten along so well. They're 2 of our best leaders. Look forward to those guys playing together.
Coach, you didn't try to sugarcoat it. Disappointing year last year, and you're determined to turn things around this year. How do you measure that, the next step up? Well, at what point do you say this was a successful year, or is it just too far off in the future to do something like that?
Well, I think all along when you start back in the summer with your recruiting and stuff, and I feel like we've hit the nail on the head. We did such a good job. When I say we, I'm talking about my assistant coaches. They've assembled a team. We've got 17 guys on our team. We've decided we're going to redshirt a few of those guys, but super excited. I think we have a team that's built to win right now. And we've got, like I said, we've got some older guys, got some returning guys. But I think everything that you do, whether it's practice, whether it's class, whatever, you're trying to use that as a measuring stick. I don't want to be one of those teams where it's about did you win or lose. You can't really go that route. You got to try to win every day. And I'm so excited about the effort our kids have given in practice. I'll be honest with you. I was disappointed about last season, but I don't think our players could be any more disappointed. It really drove them crazy, and so they're excited. They've had a great bunch of workouts leading up to right now, and just super excited going into this first weekend to kind of see where we're at.
Don't want to ignore all that. We don't have time to touch on all the returning guys and all the newcomers, but a couple guys like Matas Dexnice. Looks like he can provide something for you offensively.
Yeah, Deck's a really good player. 6'8" kid, left-handed, can really shoot it, can really stretch the defense. He reminds me a little bit of Robbie Bramhill from a few years ago. Maybe not quite the rebounder Robbie was, but probably a little bit better defender. But, man, can he stretch it, and, man, he can shoot that thing from all over the place. And so he'll really help those drivers out and like, get some space so people can get into the paint. Should play a huge role for us.
And point guard Rashawn Brown, a newcomer from community college that you really liked.
Yeah, Rashawn's really good. He's really under control. He kind of makes us go. He's one of those guys that distributes the ball, gets us into things. Really quiet kid, but, man, really a good leader. People just kind of know what you're doing when he's out there. I think he's going to play a huge role as well in the successes that we have this season.
All right, Coach, you start out this weekend. Tell us about the travel plans from the opening weekend. I can't join you. I'll be joining you as soon as I can. Football's got me wrapped up right now, but you head out to Missouri.
Yeah, you know what? I got to get home and get a nap. We got to get up. I got about 4 o'clock. We got practice at 5:30 in the morning. Got to get everything set up and ready to go. We got to be done so we get on the bus by about 8:15, 8:30, and head out. Well, about 24 hours from now, we'll be in Kansas City and setting up shop at the hotel and be ready to play our first game of the year on Friday against a really good William Jewell.
First home game is 2 weeks from tonight. Is that correct?
It's a long way from now.
Yeah, you got 2 of those trips out of the way by then, but 2 weeks from tonight at home, finally get a chance to see you in person at the Student Event Center.
Yeah, I think we got Great Lakes Christian on that night. It'd be good to get home, get in front of our home crowd for a game before we get into conference season in December.
Coach Burt Paddock, always a pleasure. Great, looking forward to covering you again this year.
Rick, I say one thing. I'm sure you've talked about it. We lost one of our favorites, Ken Clemens, the other day, and I just want to let his family and everybody know that we're thinking about him and we love him and we miss him a lot. He was such a big part of what we did here in an athletics department. He was a wonderful guy.
He absolutely was. Yeah, we do miss him. All right. Thanks, Coach. We'll talk to you later.
Thanks, Rick.
Coach Burt Paddock. We'll take a break, come back with Coach Sparky McEwen again. Final segment of the Davenport Coaches Show. Uchelos and Caledonia are wonderful hosts here every Tuesday night here during the football season. We turn our attention to this Saturday's game, finale against Grand Valley State. And, Coach, sports announcers certainly live on cliches, but my gosh, could there be anything more accurate than out of the frying pan into the fire as you go from Fair State to number 2 ranked in the nation, Grand Valley State?
We wouldn't have it any other way. When we recruit, we tell guys all the time, you're going to come here and you're going to play meaningful games. And this is what, these kids, these student athletes love. And if you're going to play for us, that's the kind of guys we want to bring in, guys that get up for games like this. So it's a big one. It's the last one of the year, and it's for all the marbles. And, anyone that knows anything about competing and, being the top, of the mountain, this is what you dream about.
Grand Valley State 5-0. They've already clinched at least a share of the conference crown. Davenport has a chance to be co-champs with a win Saturday in Aldiff. 8-1 overall. Their only loss the first game of the season They lost on a last-second field goal to top-ranked Colorado Mines, and they ripped off 8 straight. They're scoring 53 points a game, and Coach, they score not only often, but they score early. They've been getting on top of teams right away, and I would think that's a focus in preparation.
They're a pretty complete, football team. They do it well. They'll score on you on special teams. They'll score on you on defense. They'll score on you on offense, and they've shown it a lot of different ways as well. We understand that it's going to take a complete game, in order to win this game. But at the same time, we feel that we have, the talent. We feel that we have the scheme. We feel that we have the passion, the toughness, to go in and win the football game, and we're excited about it. And, a couple days, to be here.
Let's talk a little bit about, as we talked about this week, you're already, recruiting is pretty much a year-round process for your program now. But as you go down the stretch here, I've seen more and more, it seems like more and more recruits at games. So it seems like you're really making your name out there more and more prevalent. Absolutely.
And student athletes, young people want to go to universities where, you're a winner, and, these games mean something, and student athletes want to be part of teams that are in big games, and because they can see themselves in that position, So we've been very fortunate the last few years, and we've done it pretty fast, but once they meet with us, once they meet our team, they see our culture, they feel our culture, then they see why we've done things the way we've done things here and why we've gotten to this place in time, so quickly, So recruiting gets hot and heavy, as soon as the season is over. And but for us, it's around the clock.
I wanted to ask you, Saturday was senior day where a number of your seniors playing their final home game of the season. Coach, how do you balance that? Because, I saw you out there with the families beforehand, and it's got to be difficult not to get wrapped up in that because you've invested on these guys, and these guys, more importantly, have invested so much in your program, especially the guys that have been here 3 and 4 years now, as you've had a number of guys like that.
We talked about the significance of the game, but one of the things that we wanted to make sure, the message that we wanted to convey to our students, that game was huge for us, but what was something that was more important? We wanted to really send our seniors out their last game at home with a win. They've won a lot of games for us, our seniors, that senior group that was here. They won a lot of good football games, and, out of the last 20, we won 17 of them or something like that, And so they won a lot of football games, and we wanted to send them out winners. And you asked me about the locker room earlier. It was a very tough locker room because they went out, they gave their best, and, we got beat by a better football team. At the end of the day, they know we don't look for excuses. And Ferris State came out, and, they played a much better second half than we did, and it was enough for them to get out of there, to secure the win.
All right, well, Coach, let's hope we can extend the season with a big win Saturday in Allendale. It would be a historic win. Davenport's never beaten Grand Valley before, and what a time to turn it right now because it would mean, A, a share of the conference title, B, it would clinch a playoff spot as well, and C, give you all kinds of momentum for the postseason. Coach, thanks for joining us again, and good luck this Saturday.
Absolutely. Go Panthers.
Go Panthers. And we will take our final timeout. No, actually, we're not. They said, well, this is it. We've gone through everybody already. That'll wrap it up. Thanks to our special guest, Josh Fusco, the senior linebacker who joined us earlier tonight. Also, Burt Paddock, men's basketball coach. Appreciate him stopping by to join us as well. So for Coach Sparky McEwen, I'm Rick Berkey saying thanks for tuning in, and go Panthers.